First up, though, this hour, did you know that over 9,000 people in Sussex were reported missing in the last year alone? That is a staggering figure, isn't it? The figures for the year ending September 2019 represented a rise of over 100% on the previous year. Now, thankfully, most people do turn up in the first few days, but for those who don't, search teams working with dogs are a vital tool. Later this morning, the team will simulate an urgent real-life call-out in woods near Loxford, while the Police and Crime Commissioner Katy Bourne will be with them and joins us on the programme now. Good morning to you.
Good morning.
Good morning. Great to have you on the programme this morning. And this is such an important exercise today, isn't it?
It most certainly is, although I'm looking at the weather and beginning to regret being one of the victims, I think, today. I think it's going to be rather wet. But no, this is hugely important. So, as you said, Sussex Police deal with anything between 10 to 30 missing people a day, which is obviously a massive pressure on police resources. And these guys are volunteers and they're highly trained and they go out and look for missing people.
Yes, and when those calls come into the police, as we've established, it could well be, my son or daughter hasn't turned up from a party or whatever, and it turns out they've been staying with friends and everybody is happy ever after. It's just been one of those things, a miscommunication. But in other cases, that clearly isn't the happy scenario that we find, and people do go missing and they aren't found.
Yes, I mean, it can be anything, as you said, from somebody who didn't intend to go missing to somebody perhaps who deliberately doesn't want to be found, and then sometimes very tragic circumstances. So all the simulations and the exercises that the guys do are based on previous cases in Sussex, so they could involve serious injury, mental health, or any sort of crime scene management and so on. But for me today, the exciting bit, it's lots of agencies coming together, but it's the Sussex Search Dogs who I'm particularly going out with today, and they're the ones who are sort of trained to sniff and find people.
All right, well, good time to bring in Darren Yates from Sussex Search Dogs, who's also on the line. Good morning to you.
Hello, Mark. Hello, Katy.
Hi,
Hello.
Good morning. You're going to be taking part with your Spaniel Millie, I understand.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, we've got a number of dogs taking part today. 4 nationally qualified search dogs who are going to help us sniff out the missing people, of which we have two missing people today. So thank you for them for volunteering, because they're actually got probably the worst job of the day. They're the people who are going to sit in the woods in the rain without doing anything, waiting to be found. So thanks for them.
And yes, there's a lot of waiting around, but this is a really important exercise, isn't it?
It is, yeah. So today's exercise was deliberately made so that we're pulling, as Katy said, all these agencies together. So we've got Sussex Search and Rescue, who's our kind of sister team. They're mainly foot-based. We've got ourselves, Sussex Search Dogs, and we've obviously got the police, Pulsars, and Katy and so forth coming. So it's a really, really good opportunity for us to train together. We obviously deploy together on live call-outs, but obviously on live call-outs, there's an urgency to get deployed and do our stuff. So these training exercises gives us an opportunity to maybe cross-skill. And what we're planning on doing today is mixing the teams up a little bit. So some of the dog team members go out with the foot team, some of the foot team members go out with the dog team. So we just get that cross-skilling across both teams.
Yeah, and give us an idea of the training, both for the humans and for the dogs, ahead of this sort of exercise.
So, as I said, all of our dogs train to a national standard, and it takes roughly about 2 years for a dog team, and that's a dog and handler, to be trained to a level that can attend national assessments. And that's a bit of an epic. Some dogs do it in about 2 years, other dogs take 4 years. But once they're qualified, they then have to re-qualify every 2 years, and that's it's a really, really big commitment from the handlers, and a lot of people who join the team really underestimate the amount of time it takes to train a dog. So it's not just a couple of hours a day or a couple of hours a week even. We train literally a day every single week, sometimes more, continuously for up to 2 years to get our dogs to a level that we can pass the national assessments.
That's amazing. And Katy, I mean, when people go missing, as we've already alluded to, it can be a very complex police investigation, because quite often, and I think you mentioned it earlier, there are a lot of people who go missing that don't want to be found.
Well, that's very true. So the first thing the police will do is establish whether there's a crime, how much at risk the person is, and take it from there. But the one thing that Darren didn't say, and with people listening this morning, if you don't mind, these guys are volunteers. So they also rely on donations from the public. So there's no steady funding stream for them. So if anyone's listening and they want to donate, please go on to their Sussex Search Dogs website. And if you've got a dog and you're slightly potty about your dog, you might even want to volunteer and get trained up.
And Darren, what made you want to do this in the first place?
So I wanted to work my dog mainly, and when people ask me why I do it, I say, well, it's because I love watching Millie work. She gets so much enjoyment out of working. But for the past few months, Millie's been injured and she hasn't been able to train, and I've still been going to training, and that kind of negates that answer. So the reason I do it is because I like supporting the community, supporting my teammates, and having a little bit of fun as well while doing it. I probably should see more of the search team than I do of my family, which is probably wrong. But so we do get the families involved. It's a big commitment, not just for the people involved in the team, but also their families, because most of our call-outs are usually at night. Some of the police call us the search ninjas. So we turn up at night, we do our stuff, we disappear in the morning before even the sun's gone up, and we get call outs on New Year's Day, Christmas Day, anniversaries, birthdays, you name it, it happens.
That's
so
amazing.
It's a tough job.
And what about just lastly, Darren? Are there certain breeds of dog that adapt better to the skills that are required than others?
So theoretically, any dog could be a search dog, but I have yet to see a search pug. Not that I've got anything against pugs, but most of our dogs, if you look at the dogs that have been successful, are generally from the working line, working breed types, like gun dogs, like spaniels, collies, labs. We've got a Vizsla in the team who's our most recently qualified search dog. So it's that kind of dog, and the reason for it is that we're asking these dogs to do something that's very physical. So, some of these dogs go out and they search for 3 or 4 hours non-stop for a squeaky tennis ball or a bit of reward. So they need to have a really, really good drive to actually want to work, right? So it's that's one of the main things that we have, or we look for in dogs.
Okay, thank you very much indeed for joining me. And Katy, before we let you go this morning, it was a busy and important day for Sussex Police yesterday.
Oh, yes. We had our end of course ceremony for our next 71 police officers. It was an amazing event, and they'll be hitting the streets. They've got a week off, and then they're out on our communities. So this is all part of our large recruitment drive that we've got going at the moment.
Okay, good to speak to you this morning, and enjoy the day today. Try and stay warm as well. It is 7:21.